Thanks for listening to English Go Podcast. If you'd like to listen without adverts, read episode transcripts, or listen to extra bonus episodes, please check the description for more details. I am going to continue talking about things that I miss about Britain, about England, today, in today's podcast. And I'm going to start back on the theme of food, actually, because there's one thing that I forgot to mention last time, and that was cheese. I quite like cheese, and I like many kinds of cheese. I like Wensleydale cheese, and cheddar cheese, and blue cheese, smoked cheese, cottage cheese is okay, not my favourite, cream cheese, Brie, Stilton. There's lots of cheese that I like. Red Leicester. I like Red Leicester. There's lots of cheese that I like. And some of these names that I've just mentioned, they're place names in England. So cheddar cheese comes from Cheddar in England. Wensleydale comes from Wensleydale in England. And so on and so on. Stilton probably comes from Stilton. I think there is a place called Stilton, isn't there? Anyway, I can't get any of these cheeses in England. In England? What am I talking about? Yeah, I don't live there anymore. I can't get any of these cheeses in Japan. You can't buy Stilton in Japan. You can't buy Red Leicester. You can't buy Wensleydale or anything like that. So that's a bit annoying. And I don't know why. These are fantastic cheeses. Wensleydale is really unique. Can you only get it in England? Have any of you heard of Wensleydale where you live? I don't know. Maybe it's not popular outside of UK. So if you do come to the UK, be sure to try Wensleydale cheese. It's very unusual. It's slightly moist compared to other cheese. Very crumbly. When you cut it, it crumbles. It's really nice on top of crackers, especially like wholemeal crackers, whole wheat crackers. Yeah, I wouldn't mind some of those now. But anyway, I can't get those. But the cheese that you can get over here is ridiculously... I'll start again. It's ridiculously expensive. It's just crazy. It's so expensive that every time I see it, I think, I don't know if I can afford to buy this. Like on a regular basis. Like maybe as a one-off, a treat every now and again. But it's just too much. And... they have this like weird cheese, that's not real cheese. Like it's made with the leftover bits of cheese that nobody wants. It's like, why is this even sold as a product? It's not nice. I tried it actually. It was it came in like little shreds, like grated cheese pieces, and it felt weird, like very, very, very soft, not hard like normal cheese. And the taste was just, I don't know if I can just, it was cheese-like. It tasted a bit like cheese, but like a watery cheese. I think it was made with I think it's called whey, which is like a product left over. So when you finished making cheese, maybe you get all of this whey left over or something like that. I can't remember. I'm not a cheese expert, but yeah, this wasn't nice, and I can't understand why it's sold. Really, what is the problem with just making cheese in Japan? Maybe there's not enough milk. Maybe there aren't enough cows. I don't know. But anyway, the cheese you can get is really expensive, and especially if you want something like a blue cheese. Wow. I look at the packets and I just look at the prices and I just think, oh dear. So that's cheese. And then another thing that I really miss, I think, is this the thing no, I think bread is maybe the thing I miss the most. I don't know, actually. What do I miss the most? Is it bread? Is it cheese? I don't know. Everything is it depends. Like, if I want to make a sandwich, then I miss the bread. If I want to eat cheese, then I miss the cheese. So, yeah. But anyway, another thing that I really miss from English supermarkets is Beer. Of course, beer. I can't remember if I've talked about this before on this podcast or not. Maybe not. But anyway, the beer over here is generally lager, not ale. And I think that's true for most countries, isn't it? When people say beer, they're normally talking about lager beer, which is a sort of light-coloured type of beer, right? But when you say beer in England, for me at least, and I think for many people, it means ale, not lager. Like traditionally, like the traditional beer drink of England is ale. I think it was only in the 70s that lager started to become popular, and it came, from Europe and started to become popular. But before that, it was ale, and ale. I don't even know if you could get lager in pubs back then. You would go into a pub and you'd ask for a pint of mild, or you'd ask for a pint of beer, or you'd ask for like a brown ale or something like that. Ale. Ale isn't so popular over here, and I sort of understand why. In case you don't know, in England, in Britain, when we buy ale from a pub, it's just at room temperature, or not room temperature, to be honest. They keep it downstairs. They keep it in a cellar, like in a basement level. So it's a little bit colder than room temperature, but it's probably about like 10 degrees Celsius or something like that, around that kind of temperature. So it's not cold, but at the same time, it's not warm. Warm beer is not nice. Warm ale is not nice. It has to be sort of just around the right temperature. But at the same time, it's not cold. No. We don't like cold ale, because when you have something cold, it's much harder to taste it. So ice cream has to be very sweet. Have you ever tried ice cream, like when it's melted? Like you've let all the ice cream melt, and it's gone, it turns into like liquid, turns into like a sugary watery thing. Have you ever tried it then? It's so sweet. It's crazy. But when you're just like licking it, when it's frozen, it's not as sweet. Yeah, and that's because it's frozen, and you can't taste cold things as well as you can warm things. Anyway, so that's why we can't have cold beer, cold ale, because you can't taste it as well. And ale is all about the flavour. There are so many different types of ale in England, and there's so many different types of flavours of ale. And it's all... If I was to describe the difference between ale and lager, ale is like a completely full flavour. Like really a lot of depth to the flavour, and on the sort of like the high parts of the flavour, like the upper bits of the flavour, it's all there, like a full range. Whereas lager is just sort of like the upper bits of the flavour, and there's no depth. Almost never any depth in lager. It doesn't have that. I can't describe it with words. You have to taste it. You have to try some and see what I'm talking about. But yeah, such a big difference. And I don't really like lager. I don't think it's a great drink. I've had some excellent lager before. It's rare, but you can get very good lager. It's still not as good as ale, of course, but it's very good. But most of the like commercial, like mass-produced beer, mass-produced ale is actually quite good in England. Mass-produced lager is bad. So mass-produced lager is like Carling or Heineken or Budweiser. That's terrible. But like the really big brands of lager, they're all rubbish. And the same is true for English. Yeah, okay. The same is true for English lager, and the same is true for Japanese lager. You've got like lots of like major brands over here, and it's all okay, but it's only okay. It's really... I mean, if I go to a pub in England and I order a pint of beer, and it's a good pint of beer, and it's like, you drink it, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's like really, really good. Not refreshing, because it's not cold or anything like that, but it's like satisfying. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, wow, that's a good beer. You can really appreciate all the depth of the flavour in it. But the lager over here is just like, you just drink it, it's just like, yeah, it's lager. And that's like the only positive thing I can say about it, really. And I've tried it all, and it's all, yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame. But you can get craft ale over here, you can get craft lager over here, and that is good. Most of the time, ish. Yeah. I've had one beer over here so far, one ale, craft ale, made in Japan, and it was very, very, very good. Like, I don't know, 9 out of 10 or something like that. But it's rare. It's so hard to find that kind of beer. And it's expensive anyway, too expensive to drink. I can't drink that all the time. I won't have any money left. So, yeah, there's another thing that I miss. Another 2 things that I miss about England: cheese and beer. Until next time, bye-bye.
If you're listening to this podcast, you must recognize the value of asking questions. At Aramco, our questions help us engineer a better future. How can today's resources fuel our shared tomorrow? How can we deliver energy to a world that can't stop? How can we deliver one of the fuels of the future? How can we sow curiosity to harvest ingenuity? To learn more about how innovation drives us forward, visit aramco.com/poweredbyhow.